name is Melissa Jeter, Librarian Specialist for the Art Tatum African American Resource Center, located in the Kent branch of the Toledo-Lucas County Public Library. Welcome to the Art Tatum African American Resource Center's Oral History Project, the Edrene Cole Collection. Dr. Edrene Cole was a local African American historian and educator who began collecting the stories of noteworthy Toledoans in the African American community. With this oral history project, the Art Tatum African American Resource Center honors her memory and her work. Join me and University of Toledo Professor of Anthropology, Dr. Willie McCarther, as Toledo's very own African Americans share the stories of their lives.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie McCarther. In this segment, we're pleased to welcome Mr. Oscar Haynes. Mr. Haynes, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Mr. Haynes, I know that you were not born in Toledo. Where were you born and raised?
Brickus, Arkansas.
Brickus, Arkansas. Now, what city is that near in Arkansas that I might recognize?
Marianna and Forest City.
Forest City. Okay, good. Now, what year were you born?
1925.
1925. Okay. What were your parents' names?
My father was named Luke Haynes. My mother was named Lily B. Haynes.
Okay. Any brothers or sisters?
Yes. I have quite a few brothers and sisters.
Yeah, quite a few. Okay, we won't name them all at this point then. Okay, that's fine. What kind of work did your parents do?
Farmers.
Farmers?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of things did they farm?
Cotton.
Cotton?
Corn.
Okay. Would they have been considered sharecroppers?
Not when I was born, we wasn't sharecroppers.
Okay.
We was renting 80 acres of land,
Okay.
and we had one sharecropper on our place.
Okay. So then it sounds as if then your family then rented this large plot of land and allowed others to farm off of it then?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good, good. Have you ever picked cotton in the South?
Yes, I have.
Was that hard work?
Well, at the time I didn't know it was hard. I was doing it.
You know, some people have said that, you know, that picking cotton would start sometimes early in the morning and go till late at night.
Well, that's why you started early in the morning, so you get a lot done during the day.
Okay. The one thing you didn't tell me about, though, and I'm just curious, the house that you grew up in, how did that look?
Well, I remember being in a couple of houses while I was very young. I mean, which is about, it had about 4 rooms in it.
Okay.
Maybe 5 rooms in it.
Okay.
It's about, at my younger age.
Okay.
And which we had a big fireplace, which it was what I call the living room and the bedroom. It's a double fireplace. You know, you had wood in both sides.
Okay.
One chimney.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So did all the kids have their own room?
Well, see, my other brothers had left home.
Okay.
It just my sister and I,
Your sister.
which we had another brother. He was living with one of my sisters, and later on, she gave him back to my father. That's why he was living with us.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
When he got to be a teenager, then he got kind of out of hand, and she gave him back to my.
She gave him back. So he wasn't acting right.
In fact, my father's first wife passed, and he got married again to my mother.
Okay.
So he only had 2 children by my mother.
Okay.
My sister and I.
Okay. Good. You know, you were saying earlier about, you know, you farmed. What kind of meat did y'all eat? I mean, what kind of food did you eat?
Oh, we had all kind of vegetables and stuff like that. We raised our own food and stuff like that.
Okay.
And some things we bought to keep us during the winter months, like beans and peas and stuff like that. In fact, we raised some of those things. We would put them up.
Okay.
For the winter, which you live in the country. Sometimes you don't have electricity, so you don't have refrigeration, anything like that. You'd have to can your stuff.
Okay.
food and stuff like that.
And so y'all canned your food to keep it
Dry,
fresh.
dry it and then use it. Okay.
Now, how about meat? I mean, do you have a refrigerator to keep your meat in?
No refrigerator to keep the meat in.
So how'd you keep your meat fresh?
Well, just like the pork, you would salt it down, and it would keep.
Okay. How about your beef?
Beef?
Hmm?
Well, you have to eat the beef. I mean, we wouldn't salt that down.
Well, now,
Fresh
so
beef.
did y'all have cows and pigs and chickens around your house?
Yes. You kill the chicken, you eat the chickens, okay? You only fix what you need to eat.
Okay, that's understandable. Okay, now I know you said that after your father died, you became the man of the house. But leading up to that point, what kind of chores did kids have or have to do?
Well, in the country, in the farm, when there's work to be done, like when you plant the cotton and everything like that, it's got to be chopped and everything like that. You have to keep the grass out and things like that.
Okay.
And you cultivate around the plant.
Okay.
Anybody could walk, could help out.
Is that right? Let me ask you this: who took the cotton to the gin?
Who took it? Oh, my dad.
Okay.
And anybody was big enough to walk, he helped.
Okay. Now, when he took the cotton to the gin, did he always get a fair price for the cotton, do you think?
No, I don't think so. The man would pay you what he wanted to pay you, and you couldn't do anything about it.
Well, what do you think would have happened had somebody said that you cheat me or that's wrong?
Well, I think it would have probably been somebody saying something to you and probably something done
Okay.
which it wasn't right.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, because some people have used this term that black folks in the South had to stay in their place. They knew what that place was. What does that mean to stay in your place?
Well, somebody said that to stay in your place, you wouldn't never say anything, or no matter what somebody do to you. But my dad was someone who would speak up for himself, no matter who it was.
Okay.
In fact, when he was a young man he was from Mississippi, original.
Okay.
And he was a kind of a sharp dresser, had a nice horse he was telling me about.
Okay.
And the people didn't like him because he was kind of a smart guy. And they tried to chase him one night on his horse and everything like that, and he had to get away from him and leave town. So he decided he left in the middle of the night and went to Memphis.
Okay. Okay.
And he got a job in Memphis and got his family there, what the family had, which I wasn't born in. My sister was born at that time. And she was born in Memphis.
Okay.
And he sent, while he got his wife and the other kids up there.
Okay.
He got a job there and worked, but he didn't like it in Memphis for some reason.
Really? Okay.
So he decided he would go to Arkansas. That's where I was born.
Okay.
And that's where he passed in Arkansas.
In Arkansas.
Yeah.
But we'll go back. It sounds like you said when he was in Mississippi, he got chased out of Mississippi?
He had to leave Mississippi.
He had to leave Mississippi.
He had to leave Mississippi.
On a horse.
Well, I don't know how he left, but he might have left his horse there, but he got away somehow.
Is that right? Well, good thing, because you were born as a result of that.
Right.
You mentioned the horse. Now, did you ever ride a horse in Arkansas?
Yes, we had a horse, and I rode a horse.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
But most of the time I rode mule after my horse died.
See, now, what's the difference between a horse and a mule?
Well, between a horse and a mule, a horse is kind of a upgrade
Because remember,
from a mule.
I'm a city boy, so you got to explain
Okay.
these things to me.
Well, a horse got nice mane and everything like that, slick,
Okay.
A mule is kind of a rough type of animal.
Okay.
He'd look a little different.
Okay. Okay. And you all had a horse.
We had one at once upon a time, yes.
Okay. Okay. And was that your pet?
Well, I thought he was my pet, yes.
Okay. Okay. Did he die at some point?
Yes, he did.
that hurt your feelings when?
And mostly they did. I cried.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Well, I understand that. And one thing we didn't talk about was church. How important was church growing up in your life in Arkansas?
Well, that's something we always did, go to church all the time.
Is that right?
Every rain or shine, we was at church on Sundays. In fact, I have to think of something real special happened one Sunday in church. Yes, there was a storm came up. And that particular day we had a kind of a big meeting where we brought food and stuff like that, and we shared food with other people.
Mm-hmm.
A storm came up, and I could see the walls parting in the church, and I was just looking there. Everyone was screaming. I was just calm, watching everything going on. And my mother was screaming. She's looking for me and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And everything turned out, no one even got hurt that day. But the church was on kind of stilts, and the whole church came down, and the walls parted.
Did
you
it
could
really?
walk out the side of it.
What happened? Was it a strong wind, a tornado, or?
Well, it was a storm, all I can say.
Wow, but nobody was hurt though. Everybody was
Nobody
safe.
was hurt. Everyone was safe.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The church's name was Union Liberty.
Union Liberty.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how far was church from your house?
Well, the church and the school was on the same lot. We had to come the same distance, about 3 miles.
Okay. Okay. So now, when you went to church, did the whole family go?
Yes, we went to church together.
And how'd y'all get there?
Well, just got the wagon out, hitched the mules to it, got in with our chairs and everything like that. Now, on the front, we had a special seat with a kind of a spring on it. Two could sit on there, mother and father, and that was kind of a little different. But we had chairs in the back.
Okay. Okay. And so, was that an option, or did you have to go to church?
Oh, yes. We didn't have no option. We just had to go to church anyway. Our parents went to church, so we went to church too.
Okay. So would it be like a 11 o'clock service and you went back home? Was that it?
Well, sometimes we have, in the evening was something called BYPU. We'd
Okay.
go back to church in the evening for the
Okay.
evening service.
For the
too.
evening service.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. That's interesting. What kind of games did kids play as y'all were coming up in Arkansas?
Well, we had, we usually play baseball. I
Okay.
shoot marbles.
Okay. Now, did y'all have a real baseball, or did y'all have a stick?
Well, we'd find a good stick and we'd make a bat out of it, okay? And for the baseball, we'd make up our own baseballs. We'd take a rock and ravel a sock and wind around there until we get it round like we want to,
Mhm.
and sew it up a little bit. That was our baseball,
That was your baseball.
right?
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. That's so y'all made your own games up then.
But that's what we did.
You did what you have to do.
It's like we'd make slingshots. We'd go out in the wood and catch a fork piece of wood and cut it off and get some rubber, something like that, and a shoe tong to put the rock in. And we was ready for shooting.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. That was a slingshot.
That was good living.
Oh, we thought so.
Let me go back and ask you something about church that I was going to ask you about. How did you all dress when you went to church?
Well, as a rule, we'd have one outfit ready for church, and we'd wear it.
You had one suit?
One suit,
Okay.
yes.
And how many pair of shoes you have?
One pair of dress shoes.
What would happen if it rained?
Well, if it rained, we'd just pull them off and wait till we get where we're going and put them back on.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. You keep them a long time that way.
Right? And they still look good.
And they still look good.
Right.
Okay, now growing up, and I don't know, did you have a lot of clothes? And did you have a drawer full of pants, shirts?
No. We didn't even have the drawer.
Okay, well, where'd you keep your clothes?
We just hang them up.
Just hang them up.
Hang them up someplace.
Okay. Okay. And so, so in your house, you didn't have electricity.
No.
How'd you see?
Oh, we'd have a kerosene lamp.
Okay. So between the kerosene lamp and the fireplace, that's how you saw.
That's right. And the globe on the kerosene lamp, we'd have to clean that up every day so it wouldn't be smutted up, so it would shine brighter.
Okay. Okay. Now, did you have indoor plumbing?
Oh no. We had what you call our outhouse. And we'd have to go out there and do what we had to do. And it wasn't a good place you want to stay in it very long because we'd try to get out of it as soon as possible.
But somebody had to, clean it and all that kind of stuff?
Every so often, when you thought it was time for cleaning, you would take all the stuff out of it and clean it and wait till next time and clean it again.
And so whose job was that?
Well, it depended on who the parents assigned who was supposed to do it.
Okay, okay. So now, if you didn't have an indoor plumbing like that, how'd you take a bath?
Well, you ever heard about a number 3 tub?
Tell me about it.
Well, you'd go get some water. If you didn't have no place to heat it up, sometimes you just put it out in the sun in a jug, and it will get warm. Warm enough for you to take a bath in, especially on a Friday night.
What's happening on Friday night?
Well, that's when they say people usually take the bath on Friday or Saturday night.
Okay, so taking the bath once a week.
Well, that's happens that way sometimes.
Okay, okay. Well, when I tell me, as you left when you were 17.
Yes.
Had you started dating before you left?
Yes, I had.
Okay. Now, I won't ask you the names of the girls that you dated, but how far did they live from where you lived?
Well, about a mile. One little dirt road down by the river, in the woods. And sometime I would go there to see this girl and come back and I see the owls making noise and everything like that. It'd be so dark you couldn't even see a hand in front of your face. Sometimes they even have a flashlight that shine to find out where the road was. I just walked and know where the path were.
Wasn't that dangerous?
I didn't think so.
Because it was worth it to see the girl, obviously.
Right. And where I lived at that particular time, I was a mile from anyone's house, and the river was right in front of my house. Okay. And I had a mile to go after I crossed the river. We had a paddle boat to go. We had a church on that side. Sometime we'd go to church over there, and sometime we'd go to church on the side we was on. And anytime we had to go to town, we'd have to, if it was in a car, we'd have to cross on the ferry across the river.
Okay.
And we couldn't stay out too long because if we stayed out too long, we couldn't get it back across the river at night to get to our home.
To get home.
And if we did late, we'd have to spend the night with neighbors on the other side of the river.
Other side of the river.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Let me ask you this. I know you said that you didn't come in contact with too many white people when you were growing up. But if you did, how would you have to address white people growing up in the South? Like Mr. and Mrs., anything like that?
Well, that's what they wanted you to say. Sometimes you didn't say anything, just ask them a question if you wanted to find out something.
Okay. What were schools like in Arkansas when you were growing up?
Well, schools, we had a 2-room schoolhouse.
Okay. Okay. Were the schools mixed, or was it all black or all white or mixed? Or
All black.
All black? Okay. The teachers?
All black.
All black? Okay. How far did you have to go to get to school?
About 3 miles.
About 3 miles. And you caught the bus?
No, there wasn't such thing as a bus for the black children.
Okay, so black kids had to walk to school.
Walk to school.
Well then, were there buses for the white kids?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Were there times in which you'd be walking to school and you'd see white kids on the bus?
Oh, yes. They would kind of taunt us sometime and throw things at us when we was walking along.
Would they really?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of things would they say to you as they were riding by?
Well, I don't remember the things they were saying. It wasn't really important because I didn't pay them any much attention anyway.
Okay, good, good. Very smart for you. Very smart. So as you're growing up in Arkansas during this time period, what were race relations like between whites and blacks?
Well, as far as I was concerned, my father, had been, he's quite older than I was, and he knew how to get along with people.
Okay.
And
okay.
Race relationship was very good.
Okay.
Because he knew how to treat people and know how to get around bad situations.
Okay. But you don't ever recall any cases where either black people were treated unfairly at the hands of white people, violent, or were there places you couldn't go in Arkansas?
Well, I don't know about the violence or anything like that. The people, I didn't be around the people. I didn't see anybody being mistreated or anything like that. But I mean, I've heard of things happening, but I didn't really see any.
Okay, okay. So then you never had any problems of race discrimination, prejudice, anything like that growing up in Arkansas?
Well, there was a lot of prejudice and stuff like that because you go to the theater or something like that. I mean, you'd have to sit in the upper deck or something like that. You couldn't sit down in the lower part of the building.
Part. Okay. I mean, because that's very similar with what other people have told me who migrated from the South to the North, that when they lived in the South, if they went to a theater, they had to sit in the balcony where the whites sat on the floor. And there were even restaurants they couldn't go to. They didn't dare go to a restaurant.
Oh, that is true. You might go to the restaurant, but you wouldn't be seated there. They had a special place out back, a little window, something like that, and they serve you food if you wanted to buy some. But
Okay.
you couldn't go in the restaurant and buy it.
You couldn't go to a restaurant and buy it. Okay. You know, I know it's been a number of years, but how must that have made people feel knowing that they couldn't have to sit in a balcony or couldn't go to a restaurant? You know, how did that make people feel, in your opinion?
Well, it didn't make you feel very good. Of course, some of the places we had black restaurants to go to,
okay.
which made it much better.
Okay, so even if you couldn't go to the white restaurants, you had black ones.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Now, how about riding the bus? Did you know about anybody who wanted to ride the bus and were forced to ride the back of the bus or give the seats up for somebody else in the South?
Well, the little town I was in, we didn't have buses.
Okay.
But if you go someplace on the Greyhound or something like that, it's the same thing. You had to go to the back of the bus.
Okay. That must have been a difficult time, I'd imagine.
Well, things you don't know about, you don't pay much attention to them.
Okay, okay.
You don't learn how to get along.
Okay, okay, good. Let's fast forward a little bit. Now, when did you come to Toledo?
1943.
1943.
Yes.
And how old were you when you came to Toledo?
17 years old.
You were 17. Okay. And why did you come here?
Well, my father told me, even on the farm, that when I get a certain age, I should leave the farm, which my father had passed at that particular time.
Okay.
And in 43, I figured it would be a good time to come and look for a job.
Okay, so you came in 1943.
Yes.
So when you got here, who did you live with?
I had a brother living here,
Okay.
he and his wife, and I lived with them.
Okay. And what was your brother's name?
Hudson Haynes.
Hudson Haynes.
Yes.
Okay, so you get here in 1943, you're 17 years old. Where did they live?
On Elizabeth Street.
Okay, okay, Elizabeth Street. Okay, so when you got here at 17, had you already finished school already then?
Oh, no.
No, okay,
I didn't finish school.
okay, okay,
Sometimes you don't get a chance to finish school. You have to work.
okay, okay. I mean, I understand, I mean, and that's, you're not the only person in that situation. A number of people, either in the South or even here in Toledo, they had to work, take care of the family, take care of themselves. So those were the conditions of the time, and you did what you had to do to survive.
That's what I did.
Okay, okay, good. Um, what was one of the first jobs that you got when you arrived to Toledo?
I went to work, well, it was during the wartime, and the job was very plentiful.
Okay,
Go down to the employment office and kind of pick the job place you want to go.
okay,
So I like to play around with cars and things like that, so I decided I would go to Willis Overland's,
okay.
which is now called Jeep or Chrysler.
Oh, is that right? Okay, okay. So then that was one of your first jobs then?
That was my first job.
That's your first job. Okay, and did you stay there very long?
Yes, I stayed there quite a while,
Okay.
48 years.
Well, that's a pretty long time then.
Yes.
40. Okay, well, good. So, so is that where you retired from then?
That's where I retired from.
Okay, well, good. Now, so then, as you're living here, then, and during these, let's say during these 48 years, even, what was Toledo like? I mean, what kind of places did you go to in Toledo? Did you go to the restaurants? Did you go to theaters here in Toledo?
Well, of course, I went to restaurants and theaters too. I had all kinds of theaters downtown,
Okay.
which are a whole bunch of them. I mean, I can't name them all.
Sure, sure. Okay, but was there a difference though? What I want you to do now is to help me to understand the differences between living in the South, in Arkansas, versus living in Toledo in terms of how blacks and whites got along. Did you see a difference?
Well, there was some difference. Here you went to the same place a lot of times and did the same things, but in the South, it was kind of the blacks usually kind of stick together, and the whites would stick, with each other.
Okay. 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 So you don't think it was any worse or better here in Toledo than in the South?
Well, I couldn't tell too much difference, but it was a difference.
It was a difference. Okay. Okay, good, good. Okay, so when you came to Toledo, did you join a church or start going to church here?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay, what church did you attend?
When I first came here, I had relatives here, and they went to Mount Pilgrim.
Okay, Mount Pilgrim. Is that a Baptist church?
It's a Baptist church,
Okay.
which at that time it was on the east side.
Okay.
But later on, they bought on the west side.
Okay. And so now do you still attend that church right now even?
No, I have a different church now,
Do you?
which is Indiana Avenue Missionary Baptist Church.
You're at Indiana with
Yes.
Pastor Roberts.
That's correct.
Okay, I had a same conversation with him, so I guess I'm in good company with people from Indiana Baptist Church then.
I guess you are.
Well, good. What kind of things, socially, who are some of your closest friends, the people that you sort of hung out with when you first came to Toledo?
I'll have to think back.
Okay.
I was kind of alone. I didn't hang out with too many people.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. We recently now elected our first African American president, Barack Obama. Did you ever think you would see that day come?
No, I did not.
Okay. I know, that was sort of one of those historic events. And I know, so for many people of African descent, especially people from older generations, have said that what you just said, that they never thought they would see that day come.
I felt the same way.
Did you really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good, Mr. Haynes. It sounds as if then you've had a good life in Toledo. Would you do anything different with you? Looking back on your life now, is there anything that you would do differently?
I can't think of anything I would do different.
Okay. Okay, good, good. Okay, Mr. Haynes, and then we'll let that be the last word. And once again, I want to thank you ever so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come have this conversation with me. Appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it coming myself.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes.